Good morning. I'm Tom Penninga. I'm on the board here, and I'm sort of an intermediate wood turner. And I made the mistake of showing Dave Curley and Doug Brinks something I did, and they said, "Oh, you should do a demo of that." So, what we're going to be making today, and you can hand these around, but let me. Can we show this in a? Is this being, people can see this? Yeah. So this is a kind of a square bowl with rounded sides, and it's really in 3 axes. We're going to turn this dimension, then we're going to split it apart, and then we'll turn the inside of the bowl. And hopefully I can tell you some of the things not to do. I've only done a few of these, so maybe we'll learn a few things not to do during this demo. But here's another one. Well, I'm sorry, John, I'm going to get one more time. When you look at this, I like a wood turner, I can look at it and see some mistakes. One of the mistakes is you'll notice that this dimension is different than this dimension. And we'll go why that happened and how to avoid that, hopefully on the next one. There. Okay. All right. And again, if you have any questions, please stop me and we'll go over it.
Will there be an explosion like there was last month?
Well,
That's why the screen's over there.
I was nervous about this demo until that happened, and then I didn't have as hard a act to follow. So when you make one of these, you do it in 3 phases. So the first one is we're going to glue up the wood like you see here. It's got a waste block in the middle and 2 pieces that you're going to make your bowls out of. So they look like this, and I glue them up with a piece of brown paper bag between them because we're going to want to split on that. That's kind of an old wood turner's trick to make it strong but allow it to split where you want it to. One of the things you want to do is make sure that your edges are really smooth. So run it through a sander of some sort because you're going on a really good glue joint here. When you glue it up, you want to make sure your grain is in the same direction because otherwise when you're going across here, you're going to have one piece of in grain and one piece of side grain, and that's going to affect your tool differently. So you want to have all the grain running. I'm going to do first in this direction, and then when we turn it, I'll be across grain. So usually when you do one of these with the paper, you're between points. And so when you do that, you're really pretty safe because you're compressing your glue joints. In this case, you're not compressing your glue joints. So if you have a bad glue joint, this whole top piece could come flying off. So when you start it up, be really careful that you're not in the way and that you run it to just be cautious at first when you turn it up. Safety is obviously a big thing. I learned the other day that if you lose your thumb, you can't give anybody the middle finger. Okay, so that's the first phase. You do a glue up. We're not going to wait for a glue up here. Just wanted to show you what it does. What we're going to do now, the second phase, is we're going to turn this on 2 axes. And what we're trying to get is something that looks like this. Okay, so this one I've already turned on 2 axes. So if this one comes apart, I've got something to work with here. So this is our goal here. Okay, any questions on what I'm doing so far? Oh, that's a great question. Depending on the size of your waste piece and the size of your bowl piece, you're going to change the one I had here. You're going to change this angle. So if you had a really thick waste block and really short ones, you'd have a very rounded, much more of a rounded angle here. This would be much more like this. Or if you have a really thin one here, it'll be more vertical. So you can change the shape of these two turns here by how thick your waste block is and how thick your piece is. So, you know, I just did it and saw what it came out with, but I mean, you can make some, if you did it a lot, you could tweak it the way you wanted your bowl to look. Okay? I meant to cover that, so that's good. Good point, Terry. Okay, so now we're going to turn this. We're going to turn it first on this axis with the grain going in this direction, and there will be plenty of wood chips flying. So,
What size are your blocks?
are my block? I don't even know. I can tell you.
I mean, as far as thickness.
So they're 7.5 by 7.5, and they're 3 inches thick.
Any waste block?
It's the same size, but it's 1.5 inches thick. It is really important that you get these square, okay? Because if they're not pretty close, I didn't glue them up perfectly, but I think that'll be okay. But if you don't turn them square, you're going to get rectangular bowls, which could be the way you want it. I don't know. It's up to you. Okay, so I'm clear here. I'm gonna move that, yeah, okay. Makes a really nice fan. Like this thing. Gosh, that thing keeps spinning on me. Now, as I'm turning this, I'm looking above it and I can see air through it, so that's the way I know I'm not round yet. So I'm not really looking here, I'm looking up here to see that I'm turning it round. You can see that ghost line through it, and that'll tell me that I'm not where I need to be yet. This is just a normal roughing spindle gouge. I got a little ways to go yet.
you're using a roughing gouge on a bowl?
Say what?
Because of the grain orientation. This is a spindle. It's still a spindle,
This is a spindle at this point. You're right. Okay, so I'm totally round now. Now I can turn the speed up a little more. And I'm going to try to get as good a cut as I can here with my spindle gouge. You notice that as you do this, as it gets rounder and rounder, you can start to hear a difference. Oh, I got a crack in this one. Huh, that's interesting. Okay, so now I'm done with one axis. If you want to power sand it, now is the time to do this axis, because once you've switched it around, you can't use any power tools on this. So if you want to sand out your tool marks or whatever, this is the right time to do that. Boy, I got chips everywhere here, don't I? So that's what I do, is I turn this down, turn it on, and
Some of those edges are gonna be on your final bowl, right, that you're sanding right
yeah.
now? Okay.
Good point. I think I'm pretty good here. But yes. I think if you wanted to taper, you could probably, that'd be a different kind of bowl.
What grid is that?
320, and this is 400. I've got one little crack, if you can see it here, that if this wasn't a demo, I would probably fill with super glue or something. Okay, so before I do anything else, let's make sure. Okay, so this is a tool I use a lot, and a lot of people laugh at me and they use these big calipers, but I need to know this diameter here, and of course with my bifocals and the light I can't read it, but I got 7.55. Somebody remember that number, 7.55. Okay, because that's important. Doggone it. Guys got me, I forgot something. Okay, I can do it, I can cover it. One of the things I really meant to do that I did not do was I had, I think I still have it. is marking the center of your waste block. Can you see where I'm? What I should have done is I marked it before, and I should have drilled a hole in it, because that way the hole would be there after I turned the first axis. And that's what I meant to do, and then I got excited and I didn't do it. So, okay. That was not what I wanted to do. Okay. So now we're going to mount it like this. Different than mine. Now, if I use the roughing spindle gouge going across the end grain like this, it would not be pretty. You can trust me on that, because I didn't learn that right away. Any questions on what I'm doing so far? You guys are all such good students.
We're all asleep, Tom.
You're all asleep? Dave's question was, does it matter which axes you do first? I have only done it this way, but one of the problems I have is now I'm going to use a roughing, not a roughing, a spindle or a bowl gouge on it, because I'm going across the end grain here, and I will get a little bit of tear out on the trailing side, and Dave's suggestion was maybe I do it in the opposite order. And I will try that, but I didn't want to try it for the demo, so. Okay, so now we're gonna. See how I'm getting a really nice cut there, and see what I'm getting over here? Ways to go, yeah. It's important when you're doing this kind of turning where there's a lot of air, the heavier duty your bowl gouge is, the easier it is. You could have, and somebody pointed that out to me, and I probably should have done that, but I didn't do it that way. I'm going to go to a little smaller bowl gouge here. Okay, I'm just about there. Now I have to look at what this dimension is. I am at 7.60. So I got to take one more little cut and I'll be. Come on. Sorry, this thing just reset itself on me. Well, that's right where I want to be. So I guess I'm going to call that good. Now I've got some big marks here that I got to sand out. One side is always good and the other side not so good. I like this thing right there. I've got a couple of tool marks I want to take out here a minute. Just not used to not having any light here where I'm. Not used to having a tool rest that moves on me all the time either. That's better.
Pesticide suicide.
I think there's a question online, Tom.
Okay. Is there a question online? Okay. I didn't do a great job of making this smooth, but I'm not gonna stop and try to fix it right now. So like I said, I got some tool marks here, and that's mostly because I really can't see where I'm cutting, but I'm gonna go ahead with, we're gonna put it together the way it is. Okay. So any questions where we're up to so far? I can't hear you. I usually go up to 400. 320 and then 400, yeah.
So Tom,
Yeah,
how would you be putting your oil on it?
no, not yet, no. But here's the kind of tear out that you get. I don't know if you can see that. And I haven't figured out a way to get around that yet, other than maybe just sanding it out. So now we've got this piece of brown paper bag that's in here. So what we need to do is split it. And we're hoping that that'll split. Probably.
Doug, we're seeing the back of your shirt right now.
You what?
The camera's just showing Doug's shirt right now. Thank you.
Eventually it'll split like that. Did everybody catch that? Everybody see that? Okay. So I don't need to split the other side a minute. Okay. So now we're gonna make a bowl in here. The trick is that unlike most bowl turning where you turn a tenon or a mortise on one side and then you turn it around and you're all on the same axis, we can put that bowl anywhere on here we want. But to get it centered, if you want it centered, you got to be careful, okay? So I'm gonna try to find the exact center here. And okay. I didn't want to do that. And then I dropped that thing. All right, so now I'm trying to find the exact center, so this is a little, I have that in there. I know that these screws, that should be centered, right? So, but I didn't think about that, is that I did not think about the fact that I couldn't put my screw in there when I did that. Huh. It's a fixture I came up with and I thought it was such a great idea. Like a lot of great ideas, it didn't work out the way I thought it did. That's a good idea. I can do that, yeah. Should probably put that one in first. Don't you think? Ooh. Oh. Just a minute, folks. It's important that you get this in the center, so that's why I like your idea, Dave. I'm just doing this because it's important that you get this thing pretty centered or you're gonna end up having it all, your bowl part of it is gonna be off to one side. Okay,
Hey, Tom,
yes.
have you tried using a woodworm screw, or did you find out that that would throw it too much off center?
I don't like woodworm screws. I've had too many things come flying off and unthreading, and so I don't normally use those, but if you're comfortable with those, they would probably work great. Okay, I think that's really secure because that little insert I glued on or screwed on there has dovetails on it, so it'll be really solid on there. Okay, so some people use tenons and some people use mortises. I tend to use a mortise. And everybody good on where we are at so far? I mean, now I'm just doing pretty much traditional bowl turning, so. But you gotta remember there's wings out there. So I need it a little bigger than that, yeah. Okay. Don't ever dig your point on the right end when you do that, or you'll wish you'll have this flying through the air, which is not a good thing to have. You know what? I forgot. Didn't think of that. Okay. I might. Yeah, that's just what I was thinking of. I might need that. Yeah, I'll use, that's just, I didn't bring a tool for that. Don't do that. You guys are awful quiet. They explain. I don't want to follow that act. Yeah.
The tool he just used there is in the red.
Yeah. Yeah, we might want to put that back in there, although there'll be less chips flying. When you do this, you got to remember, by the way, that you got some knuckle busters coming out here that you won't hit very often before you realize you don't want to do that anymore. Yeah, he puts tape right here, and when it starts flapping, you know that you're getting really close. Okay. Okay. So this is a 1/2 inch bowl gouge, and that's why you have a shield there. There. Now you had your Oh, I'm sorry.
Fucking always stop. Jesus Christ.
Well, one of the things I didn't do on my mortise is dovetail it. Okay, because I forgot bring my tools for that. What? Yeah, yeah, thank you. Well, you're learning what not to do, right, guys? I'm still way off. I might have been off to begin with, though. What? I think it's, oh, I think it's not off. I think I was off to begin with. That's why it came out. We'll see what happens. So that's about where I want to go to on the outside of my bowl. Got a little bit more to take off there. I'm just doing a shear scrape on that. I got just a little on that corner, yeah. Does anybody have any questions? Must be putting everybody to sleep here. Okay. Go just a little further. Whoop. Okay, that's about where I want to be for this dimension. I did make a little mistake there, so I gotta fix that. Okay, so I've got this dimension where I want it. Now I just have to, now I would like to show you something that this should not be my calendar. Sorry? Can you hear me now? This wood has some real cracks in it that I did not know were there before. So we're not gonna move that shield away very long. What?
From this side, I can see air through the whole thing. Yeah. Like that whole piece could come off.
Yeah. And you know, those cracks were not visible on the initial, I mean, they had some cracks, but I thought they didn't go all the way through, but they definitely do. Can you see it from this angle?
Yeah, this was firewall.
Yeah, this is about the time you say, you know what? Discretion is the better part of valor, and you don't continue, because I can see air right through here. Or you patch it with CA glue, and you put shipping tape around it from then on. But I'm not gonna continue with this piece, okay?
I'd turn that because that would wake everyone else up then.
Go for it. Yeah, some wood is meant for the fire. Well, okay, but this is not anything new for people about turning bowls and you basically getting the right depth. I did want to show you something that I picked up. It doesn't fit this lathe, but I'm real happy with this. This is a depth gauge for bowls, and you build it to fit your lathe, and it fits right in the crack between these two. the two rails, and it slides forward, and you adjust this so that this end is at the end of your jaws, and this is touching your headstock when it's touching it. So what you do is then, let's suppose this is touching the end of the bowl. Oh, I know I got a 1/4 inch thickness on the bottom of my bowl. So I found this to be a wonderful depth gauge for me. So, and they're pretty easy to make. So if you have any questions on that. You okay? But it doesn't fit this lathe because it's got to have the right height, obviously. So you just center it in your rails. This goes into the center of your bowl. And this, when this is touching your jaws, this is touching your headstock. Just make that adjustment.
That was made for a 24-inch lathe,
Right. And so whenever, this is at the center of my bowl. I got a 1/2 inch thick on the bottom yet. So it works really nice as a depth gauge for me. I've made a lot less funnels since I started using that. Any questions about the technique of turning this multi-axis piece of firewood? No question?
Very well done. You got the distance to the edge of the bowl.
This distance? I just made it what I think looks good to me.
No, I mean, on the piece you passed around, it was different.
Yeah. Let's see. These look pretty decent. So I did get my hole centered correctly, and I had this dimension and that dimension the same. So, like if you were to look at this one, you'll notice there's a much more distance here than here. And that's because I didn't have the two dimensions the same. The 7.55 I was off. And if you wanted rectangular bowls with a bigger wood on one side than that, you could do that too. So, okay, any other questions? Yeah, it's going to be firewood. That's a shame. Okay, thank you. Just let me sure. Yeah, that's all I had to cover.
What would you use to finish that?
My Grand Rapids grit, it's an abrasive grit I would use on it, and then I would buff it with the Beal polishing system to get the wax finish. But lately I've been using Mike Mahoney's walnut oil, and I've been really impressed with that. That stuff is like so much easier than buffing it. You just put it on and it looks great, and it hardens in a day or so. I didn't understand the question.
Can you use the buff with the most?
Can I use the Beal polishing system with Mahoney's walnut oil?
Sure.
The trouble is that the Beal polishing system puts carnauba wax on it as its final coating. And so then you'd have wax over, I mean, it'd be fine, but the last thing I did with that, my wife rinsed out with hot water and all the wax melted off, and then I had, just a wood finish. So hopefully with the Mahoney's oil, that won't happen as much because it's more of a hardened, food-safe finish.
Any more questions for Tom?
Didn't turn out the way I planned.
Well, that's okay, Tom. What I'm going to do is make this. What I'm going to do is make the square-rimmed bowl the President's Challenge. We're going to bring back the President's Challenge for next month. So anybody that's interested in trying out exactly what Tom did, or I'm just going to leave it open to any square-rimmed bowl, and that'll be the President's Challenge. So, thank you, Tom.